Too late to drop the gun, unless you were the one who had picked it up. Ain't okay to be afraid, unless you have it made, 'cause they'll be here soon. Yet somehow I might be someone crazy that only you could judge. And when there comes a time that I will throw in a coin, it might make it. 'Cause I've been waiting for this, and now I'm on the road and on the way. And my friend, do make changes, 'cause who could say the same? And this is for what I've been waiting. Who could be in doubt? Except somehow every angel says throw it all away now. And I won't go insane unless you pick my brain with a decent tool. And I have now found out that I live underground as a simple fool. Yet somehow I might be someone crazy that only you would judge. But when there comes a time that I will throw in a coin, it might make it. 'Cause I've been waiting for this, and now I'm on the road and on the way. And my friend, do make changes, 'cause who could say the same? 'Cause this is for what I've been waiting. Who could be in doubt? Yet somehow every angel said throw it all away now. Somehow I might be someone crazy that only you would judge. But when there comes a time that I will throw in a coin, it might make it. 'Cause I've been waiting for this, and now I'm on the road and on the way. And my friend, do make changes, who could say the same? And this is for what I've been waiting. Who could be in doubt? Yet somehow every angel says
And you're live.
Hey, welcome to High Fives and Deep Dives. I'm your host, Blake. We're going to talk about Phoebe Bridgers today. So we're going to buckle in for that. But before we get into all that, I got a couple of folks with me. I got Joey and Gabe. They're from the band Blinde. That's who you heard leading us into this. What's up, guys?
What's up, Blake?
Much.
Thanks for having us, man.
Yeah, thank
thanks
you.
for coming out. Producer Hagen's back there. Hagen, can you hit us with the producer cam just because I haven't seen it yet?
Oh shit, yeah. Oh yeah, look at that piece of shit.
Hey,
That's what I'm talking about.
Ah.
producer Hagen back there.
Permission to applause the guests?
Yeah, let's hit the applause.
Oh god, that's the wrong one. Yeah.
Thank you guys, really. I appreciate it.
And the best part is that applause sound is too long.
It just keeps going. This is Hagen's first time producing a podcast. I don't know if anyone knows that. He's definitely not been doing this for a while. All right, so Phoebe Bridgers. I kind of threw this at you guys without knowing how much you knew about Phoebe Bridgers at all. So give me a rundown. We'll start with you, Joey. How much had you heard prior to this?
I had heard probably about 4 or 5 songs.
Okay.
I'll get to those songs. We'll get to them later. But yeah, I didn't realize she only had 2 albums.
Yeah, general zeitgeist. It's kind of hard to miss.
Yeah.
So, Gabe, any experience with Phoebe Bridgers up to this?
I think I'd heard probably maybe two or 3 songs, but I hadn't really paid any attention to it.
All right. I got into Phoebe Bridgers right around the time of her first album, through something we'll get into. So, Phoebe Bridgers is an LA native. She started playing shows with this band Sloppy Jane when she was a teenager, 14, 15 years old. They got an Apple commercial. Did well enough that she had enough money to kind of not worry too much about having to work.
Yeah.
Was it akin to the genre of music she makes now?
Yeah, a little rock, indie rock.
Okay, cool.
She ended up producing, the band's called Sloppy Jane. She ended up producing their records in the last couple of years through her label Saddest Factory, which is a great label name. Saddest
Pretty
Factory.
good.
It's pretty cool.
So, there's some crazy stuff that happened. She started working with a singer-songwriter named Ryan Adams, who's a pretty big name in the scene. He's going to produce an EP. They start dating. He's 20 years older than she is and married at the time.
Ooh.
So things go south. He said, you know what? Never mind, I'm not going to release your EP. So she writes what would be the breakout hit on her first album. Starts playing around LA, playing this song. She meets Tony Berg, who's a producer and session musician. Worked with Air Supply, Amy Mann. Was an A&R guy for Geffen in the 90s. Working for Geffen, he signed Beck and At the Drive-In, which is pretty cool. So says, hey, we're going to work on this album for free. And that's where we kind of get into Stranger in the Alps. Comes out in 2017.
Interesting.
So produced by Tony Berg and Ethan Gruska. It's a good name there to try to get through. It's a really fascinating album because she wrote almost everything. There's one single on here that is actually a cover that I didn't know until I started doing this deep dive, which is pretty wild.
Really?
So,
She has a very unique sound though. I mean, it's not anything complex or super crazy, but she does have a very unique sound. It does sound very different than I think some of that kind of music out now, I'd say.
yeah, she's got an interesting approach tonally. Tony Berg really kind of brought out a lot of that with her as well. So, she's got 2 albums to dig into. She's also produced a ton of bands. She's got 2 other bands that she plays with that we're going to hit a little bit. We're not going to get too deep into that stuff because they'll deserve their own episodes at some point. Producer Hagen, what's your experience with Phoebe Bridgers?
My experience with Phoebe Bridgers is I heard her name a lot. I guess I should switch the camera. Oh my goodness, look at my face. That's crazy.
I love it.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because I had heard her name all around forever and ever and ever, and I had heard the hits, but that was pretty much it. Dude, that camera is struggling. So The interesting thing was that like I'd heard the hits, I liked them, but I didn't really fall in love with Phoebe until Boy Genius, which again, as you mentioned, is like another band of hers. But I mean, it's still like it was a big eye opener for me just to like hear the music and hear her voice in that setting. How old was she when she started? I don't know that at all.
So she signed to Pax Am, which was Ryan Adams' label, when she was, I believe, 15.
Jeez.
So, and they had worked on an EP for about a year before they started dating. So she's 16.
That is wild.
And he's pushing 40.
Wow.
So
So
pretty wild.
how old is she as of this last album coming out?
In 2020, I believe she was 24, 25.
That's a lot of music to have written by that age. I mean, if you have a start at 14, that's probably a little bit ahead, but like that's a lot of music.
Yeah.
Yeah, she started writing
10
songs
years.
when she was like 11.
Wow.
So, playing guitar
Yeah.
and just kind of latched onto it. So, looking through credits, she's credited with a ton of the instrumentation on both of these records, too. Playing guitar and banjo,
Oh yeah.
and just really kind of knocking it out of the park tonally. So, yeah, we get Stranger in the Alps in 2017. Again, Tony Berg, Ethan Gruska, they're working on this. I wrote down, because I like to do this stuff, a list of all the musicians who worked on it.
I did as well.
So we've got Tony Berg's playing guitar and keys. Ethan Gruska is playing guitar and keys. Here's a familiar name that Hagen probably won't remember at all from our Wilco
What the
episode.
fuck?
We've got Greg Leese back playing some pedal steel, who
The
played.
only reason that I recognize that name is because all the different like names that happened. They were all so crazy.
Yeah.
They were all such wild names, but I do remember that name. Yeah.
Yeah, Greg Leese played pedal steel.
So who is this guy?
He's just a pedal steel player.
Oh, cool.
That's what he does. Studio musician. There's a really fascinating guy, Rob Moose, who does string arrangements. Who's done the string arrangements on pretty much every pop album you've heard in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Some other folks. Marshall Vore is her drummer. Harrison Whitford is her guitar player. There's some guest vocals that we're going to talk about as well. So we're going to jump right into some music because I really want to deep dive with you guys.
Sweet, man.
Is the music. So Stranger in the Alps opens with a song called Smoke Signals. And I believe, did I have the only timestamp for that, Hagen?
Yes.
All right. We're gonna hit a minute 2 in Smoke Signals. This is the first song off of her first album.
You must have been looking for me, sending smoke.
So, hear all that? That's this baritone rubber bridge guitar
Yeah.
that is a big part of the Phoebe Bridgers sound. It's inspired by Twin Peaks. So when they play live, they'll intro this song with the Twin Peaks theme song,
That's cool.
and then
That's
transition into all this. Here's these Rob Moose screechy strings.
That's that part right there stood out to me when I first listened to it. The strings there.
Yeah, I mean it's just beautifully arranged, super mellow. No drums,
No drums.
which I like to point out for drummers. You
Thanks.
can't you can just not play for a while.
You say that, and then every time someone writes a song, I'm like, what if I didn't play? They're like, no, you should play. I'm like, fuck, I was trying to get out of working.
What are we paying you for?
Yeah, right.
So it's a super cool song, super cool sounds, and a really fascinating way
Yeah.
to just introduce yourself to the world.
It's lots of like layered. Is it a bunch of reverb that's like
Oh,
being
yeah.
layered on there? Okay, yeah, because
Yeah.
it just sounds so like ambient and
Yeah,
spacey.
spaghetti western sounding, just that big splashy reverb sound, and clanky attack.
Interesting. So is that Gruska on the baritone guitar?
That's Phoebe Bridgers.
Oh, that's okay. Gotcha.
So Dan Electro baritone guitar. She's
Oh, cool.
been playing that thing. You watch any video that she's not playing her BC Rich Warlock. She's usually playing this Black Dan Electro. It's the one she smashed on SNL.
Oh yeah.
So that I also just read sold for $102,000.
Oh my god.
I'm more surprised that Phoebe Bridgers fans have that much money.
Maybe they bought it collectively. This is before they had to buy Boy Genius tickets.
True. God.
All right, so the next track on there, this is the big breakout single. We've got Motion Sickness, which I think we had a couple of timestamps for.
I think that may be my favorite song out of like both albums. I really like it. Not even the musicality. I think it's just the lyrics. Like the lyrics are genius.
They're
like,
so good.
Yeah.
It is very specifically about Ryan Adams. So
I mean, yeah. There's a lot of aggression. I feel like in the first album.
Doesn't really pull any punches. That's for sure. What's our first timestamp? Hagen.
Got there at 135.
All right, that's mine. So let's go ahead and hit 135.
All right.
And while you're bleeding on your back in the glass, I'll be glad that I'm
Killer harmonies.
sorry that it all went down like it did.
Ooh. More baritone guitar.
I have motion sickness. Somebody roll the windows down.
Super cool pulse to everything.
Totally.
English language. I could scream to drown you out. Hey, why do
Yeah, definitely the song that hooked me. I had not really heard much of her aside from working with Ryan Adams and then not working with Ryan Adams.
I think the thing that I enjoyed the most about the song is like the ramp into the chorus is just like feels like it's slowly stacking, and then it gets there, and then as the chorus kind of goes away, it kind of fades back into.
Yeah, I feel like everything blooms
Yeah.
and then fades its way out.
Which is genius, like the stacking and then the harmonies is yeah.
Yeah, again, great harmonies through the whole record,
Oh, yeah.
but that section in particular.
And
just
those
killer.
harmonies are just her, or are they?
Yeah.
It's okay. So
Yeah, we get on the next album we get some more vocalists in, but yeah, just Phoebe.
And more to the drums thing that you were talking about in the last song. This song having drums, that's pretty crazy. But like the verse being like, "Hey, let's play the least amount," and then the chorus being like, "What if I did toms and syncopation on the hat? Like, what if I made this like almost like a dance beat all of a sudden in this sad girl indie tune? Like, that's genius."
And then like so I don't know exactly what the difference is. I couldn't tell from listening to it how I was listening to it, but my timestamp it's coming up. It's 3:10, and it's just the last chorus, and it
Yeah.
just feels like a little more energy. I don't know if the hi-hats are a little bit louder in the mix. There's something going on, and I wanted to ask you guys about it.
Yeah, let's pull it up. You said 3:10.
Yeah, let's check it out.
there's the strings again.
Yeah.
I try to stay clean and live without. And I wanna know what would happen if I surrender to the sounds.
I love that.
Is it a different melody than the first one?
I think it's the same melody. What I hear is there's a 12-string guitar melody in the left channel that kind of pushes that pulse, and the tremolo on the guitar is missing. So that lets the drums cut through a little more because you
Gotcha.
don't
Something
have this
sounds
pulse.
Yeah.
less, but like it feels like there's more going on, but there's like less to it. I don't know if that makes any
Yeah,
sense.
it's
That makes sense.
More clarity
Totally.
for sure.
So that might be what you're referring to in the drums because they're cutting across a little more.
Yeah, totally.
Because of that, yeah.
Plus, the whole thing just opens up like with like the strings being the way
Yeah,
they were. It opens up in such a beautiful way. You can it does make that clarity that much more too, right?
Totally.
Yeah, Rob Moose
Love that.
writes and plays the weirdest string sounds because it's just a constant drone
Yeah.
through that chorus, and it makes everything super cohesive.
But something about like this song, it to me feels like like a person could sit there with one of those like a 6-track recorder and make something to that degree. But I mean, there's a professional, like it's professional, obviously, musicianship, but like something about it doesn't go too far away from just like, okay, she could have just made, you know what I mean? Like she could have just made this.
Definitely has a bedroom pop.
Yeah, that's
sort of thing to it, with just a little more polish.
Yeah, 100%.
Totally.
So, next tune we have, I believe, is going to be Scott Street.
Funeral next, or
Funeral?
yeah, yeah.
Okay. I should have written this down.
I think real quick though, I'm curious. Motion Sickness is like probably like that's like her biggest song, no?
I think so.
Yeah, it's got to be.
Like how does like the kind of like space that she exists in just like blows up with almost like this like what sounds inevitably like a pop song. Like how do you think that you find like yourself in this like sad girl indie environment and then also somehow write a pop song with it? Like what about the song gives it that pop song thing? Obviously the strings and everything, but like is it the melody? What is it? What's the thing there that's making it like pop more?
Yeah, I mean the melody's a big part. It's super catchy. She's definitely coming from a pop music sensibility, but she's also super rooted in things like Elliott Smith, just sort of the Jeff Buckley, sad 90s thing.
To me, I feel like a lot of it is the groove, right? Like, I don't know, I'm feeling a lot of it from the groove, just in general.
Like I said, it's almost dancey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That kind of pulse.
Well, and that's why I asked the question, because I was curious, like, because I mean, I think you said it great, Blake, was saying that Jeff Buckley, Elliott Smith, and then also Joey saying the groove, and then Gabe's mentioned the strings multiple times. It's like we have like so many things here, but it's like it comes across like all of a sudden it's a pop song, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Well, I think it's because like a bunch of her other songs, they have kind of maybe not necessarily like a super structured like song wise. Like with this one, it feels like it's verse chorus. Like it feels very direct, and I think that to me that's what I think you mean by like pop song. Is it has like this very structured,
a little more
pop,
straightforward.
like,
Yeah,
straightforward
totally.
verse chorus bridge type thing.
Yeah. I mean, that's just good songwriting.
Yeah.
Ultimately, I think.
Totally.
I just think a lot of what I noticed in some of her other music isn't necessarily that straightforward. So that's what stuck out to me about that song is like it is like a very, very structured song where some of them feel loose and kind of just like, well, we'll kind of fade into the next thing, and if that makes any sense.
Yeah, this is it's still floaty is a weird word to use, but it gets to the point for sure. For sure. So we've got Funeral up next, and I've got my timestamp at 1:20, and I think that's it. And I timestamped this one because we talked about lyrics some, and I think she might have written the saddest lyric of all time, and I think it's this lyric at 1:20 in Funeral.
Jesus Christ, I'm so blue all the time, and that's just how I feel. Always have, and I always will. I always have, and always will.
Cool guitars happening there at the end of that, but just brutal.
Well, I think it's
I have a friend I call.
interesting because it's like the lyrics are super depressing, yet the chord progression is kind of it's like light, like there's like kind of air to it, but like the lyrics are super sad, and then that's just kind of
that's Elliott Smith to me.
the uplifting chord progression while there's a extremely depressing lyrics going on.
Jesus Christ, I'm so blue all the time, and that's just how I feel.
Well, and like the despair, because that's just how I will be. Like that's pretty hopeless.
Doesn't get much sadder than that.
She's pretty great at just making you feel real bad about yourself. And the arrangement again, super subtle. That's acoustic guitar, a little bit of a string arrangement,
Yeah.
and then some weird spacey guitar stuff. for these interlude sections. That's pretty wild. Definitely, again, Elliott Smith all day.
Yeah.
Doubled vocals, simple acoustic guitar part.
Have you guys ever tried to do a doubled unison vocal like that? Have you guys ever tried that? That is one of the hardest vocal things to do and make it sound like you know what you're doing. Like doing a unison like doubled vocal track.
Yeah.
It's so easy to make it sound like one of them is just totally off the rails, like immediately. You have to either be perfect, like so good at that, or you like you have like a lot of like help from from the recording, which I don't think she does. I mean, she's just that good.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we've said it a couple times, but it's the same thing with like Elliott Smith. It's so like interesting how they can do like almost like a whisper track underneath it, like you're saying. And like I've tried that in like messing around recording at home. Trying to do like whisper type thing over what you already sung is extremely, extremely difficult.
So hard.
Especially because it's like sometimes it's like either an octave below or an octave above, and then you're trying to hit the same things that you just did in the other register is super difficult.
I am not a singer, so I would not know.
Neither would I.
There's an interview I listened to where she talks about recording these doubled vocals as a way to take the melodrama out of her voice, because it forces you to sing something more simple so that you can double it and not have the drama get in the way.
Well, it also like distracts you from like the directness, because like I mean, if you listen to like you said Jeff Buckley earlier, it's like a lot of his songs there's no double tracked vocals. It's just directly that's his voice, and there's so much to listen to in the one voice that sometimes it can subtract from the song itself. And with this, I feel like the double track and the sometimes like triple tracked singing or vocals, it's not as directly on the point. Just listening to you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that, you're just listening, and then you kind of are now just paying attention to the voice and not the song as a whole. And by adding those layers, you're kind of like, okay, I'm not listening to just the singer.
It just glues everything together, which is a super cool approach. What do we have next? We have Scott Street.
Scott Street next.
This is a Joey timestamp at 2:04. So let's hit us with that.
Oh no. There we go.
I asked you how I was playing drums. You said it's too much shit to carry.
So the reason I timestamped this is simply it's the goddamn truth. It really is too much shit to carry.
I appreciate the waiting for drums to come in.
Yeah.
And then the
And
first
then that
lyric
one.
after it is.
No, it's good. I love that.
So this was written by Phoebe and her drummer Marshall Vore, who he's playing a show, loading his drums out at a venue, and gets like roughed up by these guys fighting.
Yeah.
And breaks his leg, and he's bedridden for almost a year.
Oh my
And the
God.
girl he's dating says, "Oh, your friends don't want to see you. Nobody's coming by," and he's just sort of stuck. They break up, and his friends are like, "Hey, we've been trying to get a hold of you for a year, and she's just telling us that you don't want anything to do with us." So they get together and write this song about just, where you been.
Yeah.
That's
And then
damn.
it's pretty wild.
Yeah, that's so
wild
sad.
story.
I had no idea what this song was about. That's
There you go.
wow.
Marshall Vore broke his leg, and his
Huh.
ex-girlfriend, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, secluded him, isolated him. It's pretty wild.
Gate kept or whatever.
Yeah.
It's so toxic.
She
man.
was the
That's-
gatekeeper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gate kept. Yes. Interesting.
All right. Let's get into the semantics of this. How's it work? Is it gate kept? Gatekeeping?
Gate
I feel like in the tense that we're using, gate kept, wouldn't it be?
Probably. I
So it's,
think
I'm having a hard time not saying Gabe kept, but
Gabe kept.
Gabe kept the gate kept.
Gabe, why did you do this to Marshall Vore, who you don't know at all?
That's crazy, dude.
I really should have written song titles in order. What do we got next, Hagen? I've got Georgia, maybe.
Killer.
Killer. Okay.
Killer.
This song was interesting.
It's
like, lyrically. I feel like that was a big thing for me. Was like a lot of the music. I was paying attention to the lyrics as opposed to the musicality of it, and
yeah.
it's so lyrically dense and like sometimes confusing if you're just kind of listening to it in one ear or just like in the back of your mind. You're like, what? Wait, like what is she talking about?
So this is really cool. I've got 52 seconds
I just want to really
timestamp.
quickly interrupt from a great chatter, McLeod. He's one of our amazing chatters in Twitch who's here usually, and I'm not sure if he's referring to the song lyrics or to us debating about how to say gate kept, but it's a very profound comment regardless, especially if it's about gate kept. He says, "Man, I feel like that shows that there's potential in the mundanity or of things in life we don't think are significant," which I feel like is so appropriate when we're talking about Phoebe Bridgers regardless, right?
Right.
So
Totally.
like
That's
that's like it, like us arguing about like the how to say gatekeeper, gate kept, and he's like, "Man, I feel like this shows the potential in the mundanity of." This is perfect.
Mundanity.
What are these people on about? What does it all mean? What does it all mean?
All right, here's Killer.
Killer. This is 52 seconds. This is a.
Can the killer me tame the fire anew? Or is there nothing left to do for us? I am sick of the chase, but I'm hungry for blood, and there's nothing I can do.
So, Killer was the EP that Phoebe was going to release with Ryan Adams. So, initially, that was Ryan Adams' harmony in that song. Of course, he doesn't release it. So, she starts working with Tony Berg, and Tony Berg says, "Hey, I know John Doe from legendary Los Angeles punk band X. Let me see if he'll come in and sing harmonies with you." So you get John Doe from X.
You're saying that John Doe is his legal name.
I mean, as much as punk rockers from LA have legal names, Hagen.
Yeah, the vocal on that is crazy. I don't think I've ever heard that before. That was insane. That was like what the fuck was any of that? That was one of the most beautiful things I've ever heard.
It's so good.
The chord they land on. What? Could you play it again?
Yeah, just play it again.
There's a chord that he lands on, or they land on with one of the words that is really interesting.
Count your breath. Can the killer me tame the fire anew? Or is there nothing left to do for us? I am sick of the chase, but I'm hungry.
That right there that's so interesting.
And there's nothing.
But then does it again.
Yeah, his
Reverse reverb or delay, is that?
yeah, that happens a ton.
I think I would need Dave here to confirm. I think that's some secondary dominant shit, and that's a minor 4 chord. Which, sorry, I didn't have a chance to make you guys drinks. If there's a minor 4 chord, we cheers to the minor 4 chord.
I'm down. Minor 4.
All right, minor
I have
4.
some
Cheers,
water.
minor 4.
Well, it's at first. I mean, there's so much going on that it's not simple, but it's a simple chord progression, and then that there completely changes everything.
Yeah, I mean, it pulls you out of anything that you're locked into.
Yeah, you're super like
Which-
lax and just like.
That
and
is
then what?
That is a secondary dominant thing to do.
Really cool.
For sure. And his delivery of that vocal suits her voice really well. And just a pretty incredible harmony in general. So, and he's in X, which is wild on top of
crazy.
it all.
He's John Doe.
Yep, John Doe from X.
I wonder how many takes it took to do like the double vocals and everything for this kind of stuff, or especially like we were saying earlier, the double tracked, like just by yourself. How many takes that would have taken her to do?
You know, that's.
It
I'm
sounds like I mean, from what I've done and like recording, doing that kind of stuff is like you do the first take and you're like, it sounds terrible, and you're there for like 30 minutes on one line.
I think if
whole albums with that stuff is
if every musical artist would just have cameras in the studio at all times, because I will watch every second of somebody trying to sing that part over and over and over again. So the next tune we've got coming up has got to be Georgia, because I don't have any other timestamps.
That's
for you to
Georgia.
sing. And this is right at the top. This is another Joey, and I know why, because it's a super cool thing that's about to happen.
Georgia, Georgia, I love you.
That's just
so.
great.
Yeah, he's just dropping his sticks all over the place.
When he gets older, he might be
Pretty
the
much.
one.
I love where that sits in the mix. It could almost be like electronic artifacts,
Yeah.
but it's just for sure rim clicks.
I listened to Killer, and that song was I was just vibing with it. It was great. And then I don't know, I think it faded out or something, and then I heard that one fade in, and I was like, I heard those, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I was
just-
like, I
see
love
the
this.
drums are sticking out to you. The bass is sticking out to me. That bass tone is fat. Like it
Yep.
sits so low. It's like feel that in your blood. Like that's so like sounds.
Play that again, because
Yeah.
Georgia, Georgia.
Is that a
Yeah.
stand-up bass? Like that sounded like either a slide on a flat
I believe that's
wound or-
Daniel
When he
Ryan
gets
on
older.
upright bass.
Okay, yeah, because I was like either he's sliding on a flat wound or that's a stand-up bass.
So,
but-
and then more. Rob Moose writes these squeaky ass string parts that there's almost no body. If you listen to it in isolation, you're like, why would you put that on anything?
But the more you stack
It
on
just-
there,
it
yeah.
just sits in there,
yeah.
right where it needs to be. It doesn't get in the way. It's pretty phenomenal. That bass drum sounds great.
Yeah.
too.
Agreed.
So everything just kind of pulses again. There's no. It's not super punchy and defined, but it just fills up
That's the thing
space.
I do really like about her music is both of the albums, song to song, it flows. It feels like just one, which is very much like the Elliott Smith, like either or. It's
Yeah.
like song for song. That album just flows, and to the next thing, and then
It doesn't feel like singles put together.
Right,
Like
yeah.
it feels like there's a vision top to bottom as
Yeah.
well, which is
But
I'm a
it's-
huge fan of.
it's not
Totally.
just one idea. Like because there's some artists that will do that where it's like one album that sounds the same about one thing.
Yeah.
This
yeah.
is like a bunch of different things, same sound kind of.
So again, Tony Berg and Ethan Gruska produced both records, with Phoebe Bridgers having a more dominant role production-wise in Punisher.
Yeah, yeah.
That bass you're talking about, is that it's hard panned left, like kind of towards like the back, no?
Yeah.
And it
Yeah.
almost sounds like it's like fuzzed out a little bit too. It's kind I mean, I know it's an upright, but it's like it must be the way that like they had the mic set up or something on it, that it just sounds like it's got some wild effect on it.
It sounds like it's clear, but it sounds muffled, sort of. Like there's like I know what you're saying. It's I don't know if maybe it's like fuzz with it's super not hard clip. Like it's not.
I would think in the compression, there's a compressor called the distressor that adds that sort of hair to things. That if I was gonna guess, that would be what's happening. Is there's some distortion further down the line.
That makes sense.
But super cool and super clicky
Totally. The clickies.
drum stuff.
The clickies. Love it.
So
That's a great song, by the way. I really like
the
that
whole
song.
album, top to bottom, is pretty
Yeah.
fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
So it was hard to not just be like, let's just sit and listen top to bottom.
Right.
We're going to run into now, would you rather?
I have Chelsea next.
You have
I think.
Chelsea?
Yeah, I have Chelsea next. This is a Gabe time.
This is a Gabe.
Yeah,
Gabe threw these at me last minute, so I don't know.
I apologize.
I think I have it. I think I have it in album order over here. So we have Chelsea, and I think you said 220. Is that right?
I believe so, yes.
All right, here we go.
Long before I reach 100, I'll have fallen to the ground. And for generations, they'll romance us, make us more, or much less than ever was before the Chelsea and the floor. Make us stand before the masses like two speakers for the poor. Or when there was no revolution, nothing we were fighting for.
It's a really cool stereo separation.
It feels like there's just it is the delay. Like there's delay on everything. Like there's the I couldn't tell if it was delay that first line there, but like it sounded like a singer and then would wait just to where it sounds like delay, but then sing the next line, which was very interesting. And then that didn't happen again, but I thought that was really interesting that it made the illusion that there was delay there, but it was just another singer. And then all the other instruments have delay on them. It's so super cool. The drums have the delay on the sticks.
Well, see, I don't think that's delay.
Really, it's just them.
I think he's just hitting because it doesn't sound like clean repeats.
Yeah,
So they have kind of a different attack. Yeah, that's pretty wild, and just the way it's mixed because those are kind of panned hard left and right to stay out of the way and still be super percussive.
Totally.
super warbly song, like just like lots of weird stuff going on.
That's the Phoebe Bridgers sound is modulation on everything.
Yeah.
So everything's always kind of wiggly.
Yeah.
And the other thing too with that, you mentioned the drums, but I mean like what what drum part? Like it's like a genius thing of like, you ever sit in the rehearsal room and go like, drummer, can you just do something, but also don't do something. I would like you to be present, but also I'd like for you to be as like don't do that too much. Okay, that's perfect. Like, how do you find that spot? That's crazy.
I think you play that while they're playing back the track, and
right. Well, you see where the space is, and then you play the space. But when you're in a writing room like that, that's so hard to do. That's so tough.
Some of this, I wonder how much is written in the studio. You know, because that doesn't feel like something you would do.
That's been
in
kind
a
of
rehearsal room.
Our experience writing music is that we'll have what we thought was the song, and then we go to record, and then when we're in the studio, it changes to something completely different. Like the first two songs, I mean, I don't think Sync at all became what we had thought it was going to sound like.
Oh, not at all.
Like initial, yeah.
Yeah, that's the joys of recording music.
It's
pretty great.
For sure.
It is like being in the studio is an awesome feeling.
Yeah. All right, so let's do we have a would you rather next? Would you rather?
Would you rather is next.
Okay. Here's another problematic man to pop up on a Phoebe Bridgers album. So let's go ahead and hit it, and then we'll talk about it.
I got you at 39 seconds.
39 seconds.
I'm a can on a string, you're on the end.
We found our way out.
So that jump scared me. I'm gonna be totally real with you guys. I was just listening and I was like, Phoebe, what?
I would say Connor Oberst probably jump scares a lot of sad girls. He's one of those singers. I am obsessed with men who can't sing but do anyway.
Yeah, totally.
And like his voice is just, it really does kind of pull you out of things in the best way in this. But you know,
I will say, and I wrote this in my notes. I said, after hearing the song a few times, it grew on me a little, not a lot, but a little.
Okay.
Okay, wait. Play it one more time. I'm sorry. I just want to hear it.
Can on a string, you're on the end
We found our way out
of a suicide pact over family and friends.
in the background.
I mean, it works.
It definitely works.
It works, but like that voice kind of like
It just
I
threw me off.
know it
was
feels
the
like
thing.
hearing a flat note or something.
Yeah, I mean, it's just kind of out of place.
Yeah.
And I think it's because her voice is so sweet and smooth,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and his is not.
Yeah. No, it was very yeah.
I don't know. I love the asymmetry of it.
Yeah, the
you know?
juxtaposition
It's-
is nice for sure. For sure.
It's just like it is the perfect jump scare when you think about just like how like you said it perfectly, another problematic man in Phoebe Bridgers' life, like Connor Oberst is just like a person that's like, oh, why, but why, like could we not, oh, no, why,
Why can't you keep them away?
yeah.
So that kind of, I think, wraps up. Did you have anything else on this album, Gabe?
Not that I can think of. No.
All right, so that's going to lead us into 2018. Phoebe Bridgers starts a new band. So she tours this album with separately on two different legs, Julian Baker and Lucy Dacus, two other singer-songwriters who write really sad stuff. And they decide, oh, we need to do some stuff together. So we get this hiatus from Phoebe from 2017 to 2020 because she starts this band. They do a tour. They release an EP. And we're not going to dive too deep into the Boy Genius thing until a little later. But they tour, release this EP, and then they go on hiatus as a band. Phoebe starts Better Oblivion Community Center with Connor Oberst. They put out an album.
It's a good album.
It's a pretty good album.
How many people are in that band? It's the two of them and who else, right? It's like two other people, right?
Yeah, I should have written it down. I'm not positive, but it's two other pretty formative indie rock folk folks. And that's what producer Hagen's doing. Is
I'm looking it up, but it's
looking
so
it up.
funny because like Wikipedia just has them listed as like the primary members, but like I remember the picture for the band had like 4 different people on it.
Yeah,
And so I'm
for
like,
sure.
wait, he's not a member. Christian Lee Hudson's on the first record,
Sure.
and then Carla Azar is the drummer and percussionist.
Okay.
I don't know who that is, but Christian Lee Hudson is great. He's credited specifically on track 1 for just doing Ebo, which is great. That's an awesome credit.
That is pretty
Great
awesome.
credit.
Phoebe actually ended up producing Christian Lee Hudson's record.
That makes a lot of sense.
So, yeah, she does a lot of that.
I don't think
in the future, too.
Gabe. I don't think I've listened to Boy Genius.
Boy Genius is great. That'll be another episode for sure.
Yeah, if you guys were doing Boy Genius, I would have already pulled up a chair and been like, I wouldn't have been off camera for most of this. That's a big one for me.
Yeah, Boy Genius is great. So listen to that
I will do
on your own time.
Not now.
So 2020, we get Phoebe back in the studio with Tony Berg and Ethan Gruska for her second record, Punisher, which is also pretty great.
Oh yeah.
So this, does it start with Kyoto? Again,
It starts
DVD menu.
starts with
DVD menu.
and then Garden Song.
okay,
which
which is has a really cool vocal on it that we'll talk about.
Yes, it does.
So is that your timestamp?
Yeah,
No.
250.
I've also got Gabe at 1, so we'll hit Gabe's
Let's
first.
do-
I really enjoyed Garden Song. It's good.
Garden Song's
good.
great. Great lyrics.
I think the timestamp is just the lyrics. Really, I just liked them.
I don't know when you got taller. See our reflection in the water. Off a bridge at the Huntington. I hopped the fence.
Yeah, great.
That weird. What chord is that it goes up into, and then kind of resolves or it continues?
I wasn't listening. I was producing. Sorry.
He's doing producer stuff. That happens a lot. She's great at writing these passing chords that just kind of steer you in a different direction.
Well, I feel like it's like the vibe is that you could just kind of lay down and listen to this while you're going to sleep. But the issue with it is that every once in a while, there's a chord where you're like, what just happened? And then it kind of pulls you out of everything. And then you're like now listening more intently than you were beforehand. And it's like,
it doesn't help that there is a very creepy 2-octave down vocal through all of that, which is going to bring us to a game that I wanted to play.
That's a jump scare in itself.
That is a jump scare.
That is way more of a jump scare. Hey, Connor Oberst, you get this point. That is more of a jump scare than you.
So I have written down, I'm going to hold it up for the camera to see here, a name. Let's see if we can get this up here.
Back up a little bit.
Back up.
Here, wait. Just show it to me. I'll type it. Hold on.
All right. I'll hand this.
I got you.
So they're producing Garden Song, and they're talking about what to do with the vocals. And Phoebe says, I think that my European tour manager needs to sing on this song. And Tony and Ethan are both just like, oh, I didn't realize he was a singer. And she just said, I don't think he is. But, okay, so we have a name on screen. So I want you guys pronounce that for me.
Okay. So it starts with a J, and I know a lot of European J's are a little bit different.
Good start.
I know they're a little bit different than regular J's. So I'm going to start with a sound, or like, so maybe like a horn, maybe like a horn.
That's an
feeling
approach.
Horn. And then we got another J. How do you?
Yeah, I'm not even gonna attempt. You sort of sound like a cat purring. But just one of the more wild names that I've run across maybe in my entire life. Hagen, do you have an attempt at that name?
Yeah, I'm looking up where he's from. Do you know where exactly he's from?
I know he's Scandinavian.
Okay. I would probably just go with the straight J sound. Jeroen Vrihoff. Yeah, because the JH shouldn't be anything. So just Jeroen Vrihoff as my guess. That's my best guess.
Yeah, I'm not even going to make an attempt because that's wild. Those letters.
Oh, you don't know.
Those letters do not belong together.
no answer to no.
I am.
Wait,
not,
Gabe, you got to try though.
Jerome. Jerome
Yeah, exactly.
Friedhoff.
Exactly.
Friedhoff.
I am not ruling.
Yeah.
That's
Friedhoff.
as made up as John Doe is.
Seriously?
But it's a great performance on his part, and by all accounts, not a singer. So
I loved it. It didn't jump scare me like the one that other song.
it doesn't it's not Connor Oberst coming out of nowhere.
It creeped up on me. It took me a minute, and it sounds like an engine. I was like, what?
Yeah, it's pretty wild. What's the next timestamp we have in there for that one?
250.
This will be a Joey.
Doctor put her hands over my liver. She told me my resentment's getting smaller. No, I'm not afraid of hard work.
This was just about the voice. I mean, it's crowing or whatever.
And
I have everything I wanted.
It almost sounds unnatural.
It's crazy.
Yeah, to me it sounds like almost like a really dug into bass or cello with a bow. Like it almost sounds really
absolutely.
dug into, you know.
Totally.
Absolutely, it's pretty wild.
lyrically, like, I think as opposed to the first album, like the first album seems to be like, I mean, it's present in the second one, but like the first one, she's in a lot of like there's a lot of turmoil, and then
Yeah.
the second album seems to be like, oh, there's some relief here. I've been through, like, I've experienced things and I'm getting better. Whereas the first album just seems very full of hate.
Yeah.
There's a lot of allusion to like killing. Like,
Yeah.
it's present in the second album. She says the word killer or kill like a bunch in both albums.
Sure.
But the second album seems to be less of a I hate you and more of a like I'm aware of it.
To be fair, Garden Song does start off with her talking about killing a skinhead and burying him in the yard.
I'm just saying it's less like
Yeah.
I don't know.
It doesn't feel as pointed as the first album.
Yeah.
She hates skinheads in general, not just Ryan Adams.
Sorry.
That was awesome.
That's what Hagen does back there.
This is all I do.
So, yeah, I mean, again, his voice sounds unnatural. It doesn't sound like a voice half the time. It does sound like a bass. So after that, we have
Kyoto.
I put the intro. It's fascinating to me because this intro is literally Marshall Vore playing a little toy keyboard and Phoebe playing an acoustic guitar on a voice memo on an iPhone. That's
cool.
That's how the song starts right here.
And we'll play that into Joey's timestamp as well.
Yeah.
It's like a little Casio.
Yeah.
Wow.
Another great lyric.
I love this song.
Yeah. I think this album has more of these sort of explosive moments.
Totally.
Where, like, when the band comes in, they're really coming in. It's kind of ditch the subtlety.
Yeah, and we'll get to it, but the very end of this album, it's explosive.
It's pretty wild.
Was there something that was said about this is less killing? Didn't she just start this chorus with like saying,
I want to kill.
No, I'm gonna kill you if you don't beat me to it.
I want to kill you if you don't beat me to it. Yeah. Like I said, she's killed a skinhead.
Okay.
And she wants to kill her friend over the phone.
I was simply saying that the second album, it seems like in the second album, she's like gone through some therapy, or she's like, and then as opposed to the first one. But I mean, yeah, there's some obviously, like, who doesn't think about, the occasional murder? I feel like it's a thought that
What's
passes.
the next song?
All right.
So Joey and I both have timestamps in Chinese Satellite.
Yeah, we got Halloween before that, or Chinese. We can skip to that if you want.
And then there's the title track right after.
Do you want to do Punisher? I don't have a timestamp for you. You want to take it from the top? For Punisher?
Yeah.
Okay.
No,
Cool.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, if you've got something there.
So this song is about Elliott Smith,
Yep.
I think.
And the speed kicks in. I go to the store for nothing.
Little vocoder.
Walk right by the house where you lived with Snow White. I wonder if she ever thought the storybook
It's nice.
lines on the
I
roof
like the boo boo da ba boo da boo da boo da.
from the window.
Love that.
It's super subtle. Again, with the vocoder sort of thing. Definitely about Elliott Smith.
Yeah.
So, and then you had a timestamp in Halloween.
Yes.
Textures for days on that kind of thing too.
Yeah,
that's just like that's texture city, and you're just like, I mean, Gabe, you mentioned earlier, like, you know, you could like fall asleep to this kind of thing, and then you get distracted by like the harmonies they jump to, or you know, like any sort of vocal like man jump scare. But like the thing with that is, it's like you listen to that, and it's like, oh man, this is like. This could put me to sleep, but I just wanna like almost like bathe in those textures, right?
Totally.
Yeah, definitely easy to get lost in.
Can't remember. I was listening today. I think it's the chorus of that song, which I should have done a timestamp for that one, but the chorus of Chinese Satellite.
I have the chorus.
Yeah, we'll hit that.
Chinese
Let's
coming
take.
up.
Or wait, no, that was Punisher.
That
we
was
listened-
Punisher, yeah.
The chorus of that one. That's what I meant. I think is what I was referring to. I heard it today, and I was like, maybe it's this song, Punisher.
I'm not sure what the
yeah.
chorus lyric.
Yeah, I'm not sure what it is either.
To
But yeah, I mean
jump there.
the whole thing is just like it's it just washes over you. Hold on, I can pass it over, and if you see the lyric, you can let me know if this will work.
Yeah, I'll see how this
Well, it
goes.
won't work. I'm not going to do that. We're going to move on.
Yeah, just
Yeah,
move
so
on. It's all good.
we have Halloween.
Yeah, Halloween.
Joey's got a timestamp there, I think.
From the top.
I got Radiohead vibes from when I listened to this
Yeah.
song, like
No.
In Rainbows type.
So is that the baritone electric guitar?
That's a Rubber Bridge acoustic guitar.
Rubber Bridge acoustic.
Yeah.
This is crazy. I don't know what a baritone electric guitar is. It's just a slightly lower guitar?
Yeah, I mean, essentially.
Okay.
So, Phoebe
I loved that, though.
utilizes it a ton. You'll hear
I
just
saw
sort of
that-
lower textures.
I saw that a guy named Blake Mills played it on this track in particular.
Yep. Blake Mills is an
That's crazy.
incredible guitar player. I didn't even bother to write down all the people
Interesting.
on this album because there's a ton of folks
Oh, yeah.
playing on this stuff. So, Blake Mills playing
Interesting.
baritone guitar. Phenomenal guitar player, worth checking out. You get Julian Baker and Lucy Dacus
Yeah.
doing vocals and all this stuff as well. So we got Halloween. Up next is Chinese Satellite, which I think our timestamps bump up next to each other.
Yeah, right about.
I've got 35 seconds on mine. So we'll hit 35 seconds.
Drowning out the morning birds.
Reverse reverb.
Same three
super cool.
songs over and over. I wish I wrote it, but I didn't. So I learned the words. Hum along till the feeling's gone forever. Took her to where to see the stars, but they weren't out tonight. So I wished hard on a Chinese satellite. I want to believe. Instead, I look at the sky and I feel nothing. You know I hate to be alone. I want to be wrong.
So Phoebe is listed as one of her credits is fader performance on that song. And I'm not sure what that means because there's so much happening just texturally that I'm not sure what she's fading in and out. But I thought that was a wild credit to have. Fader performance.
This was the chorus I was talking about. Yeah, the lyrics are like, I think it was probably something that related to me the most. Like I'm listening to a song and I wish I wrote that, like that song.
Yeah.
There's so many songs that you hear and you're just like, damn, I didn't write. I wish I could have written that. And then, but then like the feeling of being alone and wanting to be alone, and then, well, yeah, that's just super interesting to me
Totally.
and relatable.
Yeah, again, great songwriting across the board. I'm listening to the same 3 songs over and over, and I wish I wrote them. I think is the lyric. All right, so the next one, Moon Song. Does that sound
Moon
right?
Song.
I like this one.
Right at 140.
140.
This my timestamp?
Yep.
Yeah. Just that sound is so good.
Yeah.
It's almost, is it tabla, the Indian instrument?
Yeah.
That gets that kind of sweeping.
Tears and
Like, yeah, that just low sounding.
but it's sad that his baby
Seriously.
That's a wild lyric. If you didn't catch it, she said, "We hate tears in heaven, but it's sad that his baby died."
Yeah, in reference to
You know,
Eric Clapton.
Yeah, but she's not talking about death or anything on this album there, Gabe, at all.
What I was trying to say was the first album is it's super introspective.
Yeah, she doesn't seem as mad.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Is she doesn't seem as like angry outwardly.
Still obsessed with death.
Yeah,
for sure.
that's
I think that instrument you were referring to might have been a bandura.
Bandura.
Yeah.
Okay.
At least from what I can tell from what was played on the track on that track in particular, this is like the strangest one. When that is a Ukrainian plucked string folk instrument, that the range is crazy. It's like an octave below bass clef to an octave above treble clef. That's
All
crazy.
right.
Interesting.
That's a huge range.
Bandura. I'll have to.
Weird. And that was Tony Berg.
Tony Berg played that. Yeah.
He seems like a guy who would have one of those.
Oh,
around.
totally. He totally has one lying around.
Yeah, again, just great production, and then the wildest lyrics you could think of. So, Moon Song up next. We should have Savior Complex,
Savior Complex, indeed.
which I've got a minute 43, which is the ultimate Rob Moose squeaky string. Feels like he's just barely getting any sound out of it.
Call me when you win. I'll drive around again. One hand on the wheel, one in your mouth. Turn me on and turn me down. Baby, you're a vampire. You want blood, and I promise I'm a brave liar.
What is that man? What is that chord? Like, what is that chord change, Hagen?
Don't know. Sorry. Sorry. I dropped out of school.
Where's Dave? No, she's so good at writing these melodies that the chord tones seem to be the last thing she worries about. It's all this texture and movement that's just, again, great songwriting. And yeah, that's a pretty wild one. And Rob Moose, I can't know for sure if he knows how to play the violin or not, because it doesn't sound like he's getting any sound out of it, but it sounds perfect.
It does. It's interesting that song to me just felt like it was so it's that space thing again, but like also those harmonies are dense. Like those are some crazy dense ass harmonies, and it's really like impressive to write that stuff. I always find it so impressive because like I mean I'm sure everyone obsesses over writing chord progressions and stuff like that, and to I mean I'm sure she does in some capacity, but to still like just come across like it's the easiest thing in the world.
Yeah.
That's so annoying.
It's pretty wild. Do we have any other timestamps for Punisher?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
Do we want to hit the Joey? You mentioned the end of this record.
Yeah, I know the end.
Yeah, I think I had one for 435 there.
Okay.
But
Yeah, that would make sense. So this is the big Saturday Night Live performance song with the guitar smashing that we mentioned at the top of the show. Breakdown action.
Halftime always works.
Yeah.
oh yeah.
It's perfect timing for our friend Ray in chat and YouTube. Halftime king Ray Rose.
All right. Then we get Phoebe's scream.
So I just love everything about this.
Yeah.
I really do.
When's she starting a screamo band? Good question.
That's a great question.
So live, she holds that out forever.
Really?
It's got to be brutal on her voice, and that's got to be why they close with it.
So I found out about Phoebe Bridgers because this was a couple of years ago. I was in a coffee shop in town and I heard the end of that song play and I was like, holy shit.
Why is this playing in a coffee shop?
And I Shazammed it and I was like, Phoebe Bridgers? Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, I love it. And there's a line in the song that goes, "There's no place like my room." And I just resonate with that because there really is no place like my room. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like-
for sure.
It's just a good song.
Yeah, it is a great song and a great record.
Seriously.
So at this point, she hasn't done anything else solo. She's produced albums for so many people.
Yeah.
And then put out an album with Boy Genius. And I have a YouTube video to play just because I think without getting into Boy Genius, this will give you an idea of what Boy Genius is capable of. And it's one of the best cover songs I've ever heard in my life. So, Hagen, if you don't mind pulling that up.
Just about there.
All right. So this is a live performance in a radio station. It's just the three of them. I think it's acoustic guitar and mandolin. And 3 vocals.
Okay. And then, oh my goodness, I did it. All right.
And we can just play this from the top.
Looks like we made it. Look how far we've come, my baby. Might have took the long way. We knew we'd get there someday. They said, I bet they'll never make it. But just look at us holding on. Still together, still going.
Do you guys know this original song?
It sounds vaguely familiar,
Okay.
but I'm not sure.
We can pull that up for them as well.
Yeah.
So this is a cover of Shania Twain,
Gotcha.
90s country
Yeah.
queen. Their harmonies in this song are captivating. Lucy Dacus, dark hair here, really holds everything together with her vocal.
We beat the odds. together. I'm glad we didn't listen.
I've probably listened to this 100 times.
It's so good.
And
This is
still get chill bumps.
They said, I bet they'll never make it, but just look
Props to
at
Phoebe for
us
being able to finger pick that pattern and sing.
Still together, still going strong.
They all make it look so easy.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Still the one I run to, the one that I belong to. You're still the one I want for.
And I don't know how much time they had to prepare for this, but
And they just do it.
yeah, it seems effortless.
And you can hear those harmonies are like a little tiny bit out of tune, but it's not in a way that's like ugh. It's like it gives character.
It's just enough rub to
Yeah.
to make your hair stand up.
Still the
But yeah, Hagen, let's give
a
him
layer
Yeah.
a little
dissonance there.
sample
Pretty cool.
of this 90s country massive hit.
Get this out of your face here.
So, Boy Genius is a whole other thing to unpack that sounds like I'm going to be unpacking with Hagen at some point.
Woo!
So,
Okay, so here's the original.
this is the original by Shania Twain.
When I first saw you, I saw you
Their faces.
Yeah.
and the first time you touched me. I felt love. And after all this time, you're still the one I love. Yeah. Looks like we made it. Look how far
Yeah,
we've
I've heard this
come,
before.
my baby.
Yeah, it was a huge
We might have took the long way.
Huge hit. And this doesn't come close to.
I like the other
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, it's so much
far.
better. So
Yeah.
much better.
I love Shania Twain, but that's it's just not even a competition. That's just crazy.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I mean, harmonies
So
though.
that's your homework, because there's an EP and an album from Boy Genius
EP in it.
We'll be listening to that.
to
for
listen
sure.
to.
Sweet.
So we have pretty much covered everything I wanted to cover. You guys have a single that came out a couple of weeks ago, right? You want to talk about that?
About a week ago.
Yeah, about a week.
Yeah.
Technically, okay. So here's what happened, and I'm just gonna. I'm
Here's
gonna-
the rub.
and Gabe's laughing because he knows what happened.
Yeah.
And, anyway, guys, so computers are difficult and tasks are difficult. And I was uploading a song, and I uploaded the wrong fucking song.
Oh, no.
Twice.
No, just once. Wait, twice?
Yeah, you messed up twice.
That's crazy.
February.
Okay, so what's the release schedule looking like?
It's a great
think-
question.
End of February.
Question.
End of February. So we were. What was the Friday? It was a Friday.
Yeah, it's a Friday the 28th, and then we got some more stuff coming after that. Yeah.
Awesome.
All that'll be all of our recorded stuff currently.
That's great.
Yeah, probably the next month or early April.
That's
so.
great. That's great. Well, I think what I really quickly want to do is I want to say thank you guys for coming on and doing this. High fives and deep dives with Blake, and I'm happy to also be here. If you guys could give like your final take on Phoebe Bridgers and the whole listening experience to that music. How would you feel about it?
Like my overall.
Overall take on it. What's your takeaway from listening to that?
Not generally something that I initially would go out of my before listening would have gone out of my way to listen to.
Yeah.
I didn't. But then and then I feel like I heard snippets of it. I kind of when Blake had kind of given us the task to listen to it, I kind of just grazed and listened to a couple things, and I was just like, okay,
yeah.
Cool. Like I kind of put it in the same department as Claro, and that kind
I
of
get it, yeah.
Adriana Lenker, which both are extremely impressive and stuff. But I
Sure.
was just like, eh.
Sure.
And then I listened to it in depth, and I like the first album specifically, and I was like, oh, these lyrics are genius. Like
Yeah.
there's so many good like ironies and metaphors.
It's genius.
And
Yeah.
she doesn't do what a lot of like songwriters do, where they use simile. It's all metaphor. So this is what it is, and then
That's great.
to tie but so I really fell in love with the like lyricism of the whole thing, not just the music. I think that's kind of secondhand to me.
Yeah.
Like, was the musicality. I think the lyrics really. I was like, wow, this is impressive.
For sure. I love that. And just to back you up, you said Adrienne Lankard, not a huge fan, but have you listened to Big Thief? Have you listened to her band?
Yeah.
You still oh, that sucks.
I was saying, okay.
I get it. I know people that don't like Big Thief, and I understand why. But
No.
yeah.
I've heard some Big Thief, and I haven't been like, oh, this is bad.
Totally.
But I'm saying solo work. Adriana Lang.
I understand that too. Yeah, for
I've
sure.
been like, meh.
Yeah,
And
I
same thing
understand
with
that.
some Claire. I mean, there's some occasional stuff where I'm just like, this is really good. And
Yeah.
for the most part, though, I'm just kind of like flat.
Yeah,
mean, it's like,
I got you. Joey?
You know, Phoebe Bridgers is
Dog, that's crazy.
so it's one of those names that like I had heard a bunch, and I'd never really like gone out of my way to listen to her and stuff. And I feel like there's two different ways you can listen. Well, there's definitely two. You can listen to an artist. You can like listen to them and like kind of listen to an album and let it like slow burn and then be like, okay, let me listen to this album. And over the course of, I'm talking like,
Sorry.
Oh, you're good.
You're good. Keep going.
over the course of like months, you can listen to it, and it kind of like, I feel like that's a deeper connection. Whereas like here with Phoebe, I was like, given a week to listen, and I kind of just like, you know what I mean, like really, really quickly. And so I haven't had the ability to be given enough time to myself to really, 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 really listen and like feel this stuff. But from what I have, I will say I know that I am going to be doing that because I love these two albums, specifically the second one.
Hell yeah.
It's pretty great.
You gotta listen to all of her stuff. She's incredible. She's absolutely incredible.
Will do.
Well, Blake, thank you. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Blake.
Thank you guys for being here. We appreciate it so much. If you haven't already, please follow, subscribe, whatever platform you're on, listening to this, watching this. It's free. It's free. So do it. Follow, subscribe. If you haven't already, you can find us, DFTA Podcast on Instagram and Don't Feed the Artist on TikTok. We will soon have an Instagram for this specific show that will it'll all be part of the family. Let's see. If you have any thoughts, email us, feedback, don'tfeedtheartist.com. We want to hear from you. And we'll be doing fun Fridays and more of deep dives and high fives and deep dives. I'm going to mess it up every time. That's what I do. Thank you guys so much. We appreciate it. And there's my air horn for the episode. Bye.